My name is Bip. That's correct. I changed my name many years ago. It's BIP. My last name is Olar, so it's Bip Olar Bip Olar Bipolar, which means I used to have bipolar. That's correct. Now I'm bipolar no longer. And I'm going to give you my cliff notes of my mental health and mental illness life from my discovery to recovery and from recovery to discovery. You're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there's so much good that we're going to get to, but you got to be patient. As I always say, if you're not patient, you might become an impatient or vice versa. So, how did it basically all started? That's what I'm going to go into. How I suffered for 40 years with my mental illness. How I finally got and stayed mentally well. That's the big thing that I'm going to go over. And how I'm thriving now in the mental health field and beyond. These are things I will go over. I will do my best to educate you. I will inspire you. I will motivate you. I will engage with you the best I can through the webinar and relate, interact, and use humor to help you with your mental health challenges, and so much more. The question is, how did this all start with me, Michael Weitzman? That's my real name, not just Bipolar no longer. How it all started for me was really when I was in first grade in Rockland County. I was 5 years old and I had a lisp and I had a stuttering problem. That was very traumatic for me, even for someone that was 5 years old. I had to deal with the lisp and the stuttering at a very early age. And then what really got me to get into disabilities, physical and mental, was basically when it all started, when I saw my Uncle Zelly. He was an identical twin brother to my father. And here's a picture of him that I'll just show you. He's right over here. He was born with cerebral palsy. And since he was born with cerebral palsy, he was basically wasn't able to play sports. He wasn't able to drive a car. He couldn't do a lot of different things. But I saw him at my parents' kitchen table playing Pinochle. It's a card game with my father, his identical twin brother, and my grandfather, and they were playing Pinochle. And I noticed he was like his movements were kind of different. He was dribbling on the table, but he was telling jokes. He was being funny. So I had to ask my dad later on, like, what's wrong with Uncle Zelly? And he said, I just want to know he has a disability. He was born with cerebral palsy. But I said, he's amazing. He still can do anything he wants to do. And I found out that he was able to get a great job, go to college, get a great job with the state of New York. We always drove him everywhere. My dad always did that. And then eventually he became a religious Jew. And then after that, he decided at the age of 50, finally found a religious woman and he married her. She was 37. So he got married at the age of 50. This is someone that has cerebral palsy. And so what's amazing to me is that after that, she died after 3 years, and on his deathbed, he adopted a Down syndrome child who became she's 37, living in Brooklyn, and her parents took care of him just like he did. My Uncle Zelly eventually died at 77. But the point I'm making is that it made me understand it doesn't matter if you have a physical disability or you have a mental disability, you can still do anything you want in your life, just like my Uncle Zelly. Just like when I used to stutter and I had a lisp, you can do anything from physical and mental disability. So that's really how it all started for me regarding that. That led to me to deal with my own mental disability. And it's all about, I felt it doesn't matter if you have a physical or mental disability, because we all are what? Created equal. And that's what I talk about in everything that I do now. So I was a regular kid, 9 years old, and I was playing hide go seek in my own town in Rockland County with my friend Joe Ranny. And all of a sudden, we're playing hide go seek. I went into a sewer pipe. I couldn't get out. He couldn't even find me. Finally, he found me, and the fire trucks had to pull me out and get me out of the sewer pipe. So at the age of 9, all I asked the fire department while they were getting me out is, am I going to be in the newspaper? That's really what it was. What was I looking for? I was looking for a media. I wanted to be in TV, radio and television, podcasts, all these things. I wanted to be in newspapers at an early age, which you're going to get to the good part. I did get into, in my 50s, get onto TV and radio, and that's for the good stuff. But I want to get into some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. So that was just as a regular kid. Uh, and then all of a sudden, uh, having a good life until the age of 16. What happened when I was 16 is that very traumatic. I failed my road test, but I didn't just fail my road test once. I didn't fail it twice. I failed my road test 3 times. And when you fail a road test 3 times, when you're in school, it's traumatic. It was very traumatic. I felt like a loser. I was antisocial. I didn't want to go to parties anymore. I was dealing with one of the biggest symptoms, isolation, because everybody at the parties are going to ask, oh, what kind of car you drive? Did you get your license? And I felt terrible because I failed it 3 different times. So that was very traumatic for me. And that's how it started when I was at 16 years old, dealing with my own depression. And what I call it, I was suffering in silence at a very early age. And that's what many people are doing in the world, but we don't know because they never came out to work on their recovery, which we're going to get into. So basically, I silence my high school years, suffered in college, just getting by, having problem with taking tests. That's always a problem. And then about 6 years after college, had different jobs that weren't very good. But of course, all my friends that graduated college got great jobs. But at least I had something that no one else had during my days of suffering with my depression in silence. I had my support, and that was my parents. And I always say, if I didn't have my parents, I don't know where I'd be today. So what happened is, I had all these bad jobs until about 1987. I took a chance and I got into the mortgage industry. And, I'm 28, 29 years old in the mortgage industry. And then after about 6 months, I was about to be fired. I was about to be fired very well. And then all of a sudden, the boss that took me in his office told me, you're not going to make it, had a heart attack. And the top sales rep took over his job. And then my attitude came, you know what? I'm going to show them. I'm going to kick butt. And I'm going to really, really make it in the mortgage industry. And then basically my attitude changed. And then all of a sudden I started dominating in the mortgage industry, just totally dominating. It really was coming from dominating in the mortgage industry for over 20 years. And it was all because of my system that I put together called follow up and service equals reputation. Reputation equals referrals. Referrals equals money. So it was the money that was so great that I started making. So my money was what? My antidepressant. I wasn't taking any medicine then. I wasn't taking it. That came on later, which I'll get into. So my money that I made was my antidepressant. I was a commission sales rep. And that's basically what I was doing. And I was just doing unbelievably well until that was in 1987. Until about 1999, I had basically 2 daughters, an unloving and abusive marriage, and my income started to go down in 1999. So that was the day I finally came out of the mental health closet. What I call is where I finally got help with my mental health. That's when I finally went to do something about it. Of course, my wife would say, if you take medicine or if you go to a doctor or if you go to a hospital, I'm going to divorce you. So I had a lot of pressure that somebody was not on board. So I had to deal with that pressure. But what did I call is the triangle? The psychiatry and where the talker might be.
I'm sorry.
Those are the three things.
For me. Sorry, hold on 1 second for me, Mike. Because of the bandwidth if you have a video, if you're showing your video, can you please just close your video for me so we don't have the backseat with Mike's video popping up? Thanks.
Continue.
Okay, you're good.
So this is a triangle: meds, psychiatry, and the talker. That's what I started to do at the age of in 1999. So I got out of the mental health closet, and that's really what I did. But thank God I had support. I had my parents as my support, and I'm taking medicine, psychiatry, meds, and everything was going okay until basically, guess what happened? I started making money again. So my depression went underneath the rug. It was gone. I didn't have any more depression. How can you be depressed when you're making lots of money? So in 2003, I made close to $500,000. That's insane. I mean, I shouldn't say that word, but you know what I mean. I made a lot of money, and I wasn't depressed anymore. I was buying nice cars, nice houses, second home, a boat, in-ground pool with my future ex-wife at the time, and a lot of stress. A lot of stress I didn't want. But like I said to you before, I thank God had my parents as my support. But what happened? Back in about 2005, I started becoming a walking zombie in 2006, in 2007, and I had more depression. It didn't matter because the income started going way down. The mortgage industry, as you know, was in crisis in 2007, 2008. I wasn't making really any money, and I was the sick as I've ever been in my life. So what happened? In January 2nd, 2008, I took these gloves and I did it. I'm not going to tell you how or when, but I put them in a place and I tried to take my life. I tried to take my life, and I was so sick. And I said, done with the mortgage industry. Done with the big house. Done seeing my future ex-wife. I had to not see my kids for a while. But the whole thing is, I got at that point what I did, you can't do. So tried to take my life, and I got committed to a psychiatric hospital. But the key was that I had to go in. That was my second hospital stay. But the thing was I really trying to take my life, or was I screaming for help? Because I was doing it, trying to take my life at the crisis center parking lot in Pomona in Rockland County. So the key was, yes, I was very, very sick and screaming for help. So after the suicide attempt in January 2nd, 2008, I remember that the rest of my life. Done with my ex, done with my wife. I needed to start a recovery plan. So from January 2008 all the way to October 29th, 2014, because that's going to be the good part coming soon, over 6.5 years, I tried working on my recovery. I started with my depression and bipolar. I even did ECT treatments. I did 4 more psychiatric hospital stays. I did 3 outpatient facilities. I did clinics that I went to. I tried so many types of medicine, so many types of psychiatrists, and so many types of therapists. And I call that basically the Lay's Potato Chip Syndrome Award, which means you just can't get just one psychiatrist or one type of therapist or one type of medicine. But mainly it takes a long time to get the right combination. And for me, it took over 40 years to get the right combination with my mental health. So now, during all this time, suffering for 40 years, suffering in silence for 25, then 15, suffering with my mental illness, I just started to get well, and then I would get sick again. I would get well, and then I would get sick again. And I would get certain different jobs, and I would just never do well at them anymore. Until basically, I call it the ticking time bomb effect. That all of a sudden, I was doing okay, bang, now I'm not doing well, then okay, bang, and then all of a sudden, that ticking time bomb would go off. And it happened so many different times. And I don't know if you guys out there can relate to that, because that's what happens with my depression bipolar. I would feel so good or feel pretty good and then get sick again. And then all of a sudden, it could be anything, a traumatic thing that came up or something that simple as a job problem or something with a relationship, and it get triggered, and I would get sick again. So one of the things that I suffered from was a lot of isolation from that time of 2008 all the way to 2014. I had isolation. I was angry. I was overreacting to things. I was worrying all the time. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. I had negative thoughts. I've had anxiety or irritable. I was sad. I had lost my interest to do things. No self esteem, sad, as I said before, feeling worthless. I had no self esteem. I was sleeping in cars just to fall asleep while I was still working at the tail end. I had fear and doing a lot of this. You know what this is, ladies and gentlemen? That's called beating yourself up. I beat myself up so much. And then what happened in basically August 11th, 2014, I don't know if you remember, it just happened recently. We celebrated, unfortunately, the 6-year anniversary that Robin Williams took his life. And that to me was very traumatic, and I was still doing okay. And then I got very sick after what he did. And I was a very big Robin Williams fan. As an actor, as a comedian, I just thought he was a genius. And then something happened, and I had to go into another a psychiatric hospital. This is what happened to me. It was very tough. But what happened is, at that moment, after Robin Williams did what he did, I went into a. This time, it was basically in October 16, 2014. But this time I said, you know what? I'm going to go into this hospital stay, my 6th hospital stay. But this time, I'm going to really work on my recovery. But this time, I'm going to do everything in my power to not just get well, but I'm going to stay well. And you're going to hear a lot of this staying well, staying mentally well. That's what you're going to hear a lot of. So what did I do in this last my 6th hospital stay that was different than all the rest? Well, if you can look at the sign behind me, I came up with a workshop that is kind of like what I'm doing today a little bit, called the 3 Amigos of Mental Health. That was born in an inpatient hospital. Very similar to what happened in Patch Adams, which I'll go over in a minute, as my favorite movie. My presentation is basically all about getting rid of the stigma of mental illness. It's about telling people how to deal and come out and deal with their acceptance that they do have a problem and they need to get help and work on the recovery. What else is what I talk about is telling my sad but also inspirational stories of how you can get better and stay mentally well, and to get people to use many types of wellness tools. You can see my wellness toolbox right over here. That's the wellness toolbox we're going to get into in a minute. I came up with wellness tools. And then the most important tool of them all that I came up with, the most important tool was humor. That's correct. I came up with humor. Humor is my biggest and my favorite wellness tool of them all. So Robin Williams was the main reason I got into the mental health field, not just to work on my recovery, but that was just a whole thing. He was the reason, because I wanted to, do the certain things that were in his movies about helping improving people's quality of life and using humor to really help people, just like in the movie Patch Adams, I'll get into in a minute. And also, it's about how I struggled for 40 years in silence and struggled with my mental illness for so long. But of course, the most important thing is never giving up. Never giving up, even though I've had hospital stays and psychiatric stays and tried to take my life. So I came up with things called like this. You see this? I'll show it to you if you can see. It's bipolar mint gum. Yes, I came up with bipolar mint gum. It's out on the streets right now. Bipolar mint gum. So now you too can have the taste and the feel of having bipolar. That's right, the taste and feel of having bipolar. But don't worry, each stick comes with free hospitalization, ECT treatments, and permission to run naked in your local shopping mall. I've done that 3 times. So chew up, ladies and gentlemen. And I also have schizophrenia gum coming out next week. Again, it's not about making fun. It's about having fun with your mental health. That's what I do with the humor in my workshops and even when I do radio shows and everything that I do. Have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun, have fun. So besides speaking my workshop presentation, the three amigos of mental health all over, I'm a professional speaker, inspirational, motivational speaker. I'm an advocate, performer. I speak the three amigos all over, and I just do it without the three amigos, just speaking it raw on my story, how I can help others with their mental health and their mental health challenges. I'm also building an important mental health career. That's so important. Right out of a psychiatric hospital on October 29th, 2014, when I got discharged. I'll remember that the rest of my life. And what it's about. So, all about staying mentally well, getting well, staying mentally well, using humor and using wellness tools. And I'll get into that in a second. Also, I was involved with my career with DBSA support groups as an affiliate. I was a facilitator and a member. That's the Depression Bipolar Alliance group. I was involved with MHA. I'm involved with NAMI as an own voice speaker, conference speaker, and member. I do a lot of stuff with them. I work for St. Vincent's Hospital as a peer support specialist and an assistant care coordinator. I am a stand-up comedian. I am a trained peer support specialist, and I do a lot of speaking, and all with the support of my parents when they were alive, and even my girlfriend. That's having support. I get into it in a little while about support is so important in your recovery and in your mental health life. Now, what is the three amigos of mental health? What is that? Which one are you? It's either you're suffering with a mental health condition, either you're suffering in silence with your mental health condition, or you're not suffering at all. So I want to help all the three amigos to help and support one another, to be friends, and to be amigos. And that's really what it's all about. And I want the ones that don't have a mental illness, the ones that can be a little more problematic, that don't have a mental illness, I want them to know what it tastes like, what it feels like to have a mental illness. So maybe they'll be more understanding and loving and giving to the people in their life that are suffering with a mental illness. And that's really what it's all about. So I want them, like I said, you need to know what it tastes like and feels like. I know what cancer feels like because my mother had cancer. I know about dementia because my dad had dementia. I know about mental illness because I suffered for 40 years and suffered in silence with my own mental illness of my depression, bipolar. So I want to help everybody to realize that you can get well and you can stay well with your mental health. It's so important. Now we're going to get into some of the good stuff. I went from some of the bad and the ugly, now some of the good. And this is really the thing that is so important to me. It's called the Wellness Toolbox. You see it right over here. And the Wellness Toolbox came out of the three amigos of mental health. And I still use so many wellness tools at this time. I'm telling people it's important to still do your triangle. Take the meds that work, see the therapist that you can see, that's great, and the psychiatrist, that's great, and get that right combination. But you can also do wellness tools with that, which I've done for right now for almost 6 years. And what are those wellness tools? You can put together a daily planned list, a to-do list, especially if you're going through a very hard time. It shows that you accomplish things. What else you can do? Journaling. Oh, I love journaling. Journal how you feel, what's going on. What other things that you can do in the wellness toolbox and the wellness tools? Meditation. I do meditation. I do deep breathing exercises. I do affirmations. Affirmations are great. Like one of mine, I used to worry all the time. So I used to go, stop worrying as much as you can so you could become a much healthier man. Might sound corny to you, but I've been saying that in my shower for over 6 years, and it's become a reality. So you have affirmations, put together a creed, prayer, God, Bible, faith, Jesus, temple. There's so many different things. Spiritual readings that I used to do. Eckhart Tolle. I'll That's another one that's great. Louis Hay, Miguel Ruiz. That's my favorite book. I'll go into that in a minute. Walks, exercise, biking, aerobics, acupuncture, hypnosis. I have a cat. He's a wellness tool. Baxter, my little boy, my little cat. That's a wellness tool. Having a dog is a wellness tool. Having animals. What is other? Storytelling, poetry, inspirational and motivational quotes or movies, funny inspirational movies, which we'll get into. Your nutrition, having good sleep, drinking water, art therapy. There's so many types of wellness tools that I use that I get other people to use. I'm not saying don't use the triangle, the meds, psychiatry, and the talkers, but eventually you might be able to wean off, which I've done on some of it. I still take some medicine, but I'm able to now use my wellness tools. What others are there? You have video games. You can play chess. Like I said, hypnosis, eat healthy, keep a positive attitude. You can do massages or give massages or get massages. You do sports. There's so many things that you can do. Network with your friends and family. Read. Well, there's so many. Do CBT. Do DBT. The electro behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's so many things that you can do with this wellness tools, ladies and gentlemen. There's so many things that you can do. So, what I'm saying to you is, and I'll say it again, it's about getting well and staying mentally well. You use what you can use. Support staff, very important. I'll get to that in a second. The support, you want to use your medicine, psychiatry, and your talker, whoever that might be, but let that be somebody that you can really thrive from in your recovery with these people. So as I let you know, I have the best psychiatrist, I have the best therapist that I used to have, and I have the medicine that really helped me finally after going through so many. And now I don't need it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. Everybody's different. I don't tell you what I did to take my life, and I will not tell you what type of medicine I take because it's always different for everybody. So, what's the other biggest wellness tool? Well, we're going to get into that one, and that's called humor. Laughter and smiles is my biggest and my favorite wellness tool. It really, I don't know if this is a webinar, so it's hard, but anybody have the show of hands, which I can't see anyway. So I'll just say, anybody, you know that having bipolar, they say that having bipolar is really bad. You've heard about that, right? Having bipolar is really bad. But let me tell you something. Since I've had bipolar, it's been great. I've had bipolar, it's been great. I focus really well. I'm very creative. I have an incredible long sex drive. I really do. I have to drive 60 miles to see my girlfriend. Sex drive. Get it? Have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun. Have fun. I make it cool, fun, enjoyable, relatable, humorous, and helpful to talk and work on your mental health and your mental health challenges. That's what it's all about. What else can we do? And it's all about, really, again, how do I get mentally well and how do I stay mentally well? And you need to try many, many things. That's what I have done. That's why I came up with the Wellness Toolbox. That's what I came up with the 3 Amigos of Mental Health. These are the things that help me, but also how do I help others? That's what it's all about. And that's just some of the things that I'm doing at this time. Another thing, which I'm going to ask the question, which is hard on a webinar, do you know what the 10th leading cause of death in the United States is? Anybody? You can even chat on that. What is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States? Anybody know? It's suicide. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. Over 50,000 people die a year, and probably because of this year, because of the pandemic, it's probably even more. And suicide is just, it's unbelievably bad. And I'd rather people say suicide took his or her life instead of saying he or she committed suicide, almost like they've been planning it their whole life. That's not true. There's so many things that suicide is taking people's life. And the most important thing is, and I'll get into that right now, as I said, the reason I'm in the mental health field is because mainly because of Robin Williams. Robin Williams is where I'm here today. And one of my favorite movies you got to watch, I'm going to show it to you right now. You got to watch it. It's called Patch Adams. Patch Adams, to me, is a little bit about who I am as well. Working on my workshop, again, Patch Adams, working for my workshop in a psychiatric hospital, similar to him, how he got his name Patch, and what he was doing in the movie. It's all about how he's helping, improving the quality of life of everyone, whether they have a disability or have cancer or have a mental illness or have a chronic illness or have a disability. It doesn't matter. Or if they're elderly, it doesn't matter, because you need to improve everybody's quality of life, mentally ill or not. And that's really a big part of the movie in Patch Adams that Robin Williams plays in. And one of my favorite lines in the movie, I'll get into it later, I'll say it now, is that he says, "You treat a disease, you either win or lose. But if you treat a person, I guarantee you, you always win." And that is so true. And that's what I've been doing by using my passion, using my years of suffering to really help others, educate them, inspire them, use education and awareness, all of these things. For what reason? It's therapeutic to me, but it's mainly how can I help you? Whether you're suffering in silence, or you're suffering with a mental health condition, or you're not suffering at all. Let's help everyone understand that it's just mental illness, and we shouldn't be, making a big deal that it's mental illness. So, what other movies that I recommend besides Patch Adams? If you want to laugh, you got to watch with Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire. I'll get into that in a second about what I do with Patch Adams meeting Mrs. Doubtfire and one of the characters I have put together. And that's a movie you got to watch. It is so funny. Robin Williams is amazing. Another movie I recommend is it's called Pay It Forward. You might have heard the idea about paying it forward, that doing something good for someone for no reason at all and just paying it forward. Amazing movie. It makes a point about a disability in the movie. Watch it. Amazing movie. I also said there's a book that I recommend that someone even taught. It's called The Four Agreements. The Four Agreements is an amazing, amazing book. I recommend it by Miguel Ruiz. He's a healer. And what's amazing about is that it tells you about the four agreements. The three agreements is what it's all about. About don't assume. That's the third agreement. But the most important agreement is be impeccable with your word. That's the second agreement. Be impeccable with the word, which means without sin. So if you're driving your car and someone cuts you off, you're not giving them, you know what, and you're not cursing them out. Be impeccable with your word, no matter what. And then the most important agreement, ladies and gentlemen, what is it? Don't take anything personally. That's so important. I read the book 7 times because when I started to take things personally, I said, got to read the book again, got to read the Four Agreements. So I recommend the Four Agreements. Now, what other movies would I recommend? Other movies you got to watch that is, changed me. Seen it 3 times with Will Smith, called 7 Pounds. Excellent movie, an amazing movie that will change you. Another one, unfortunately, is My Sister's Keeper. It really will get to you, but it's an amazing movie about, I don't want to get into it, but a chronic illness. Green Book just came out last year regarding race. An excellent movie. It won the Best Picture. Amazing, amazing movie, Green Book. The Soloist. Oh, my God. With Jamie. Oh, my God. What's his name? I forgot his name. But I'll remember it. The Soloist. You got to watch The Soloist. Great movie. Now, regarding mental health movies that I'm recommending you to watch, very good. It's like a love story for people that have mental illness. Silver Lining Playbook. Jennifer Lawrence. She won Academy Award. Watch Silver Lining Playbook. What are the movies you can watch? An old movie from 1980. It's Just Like My Marriage, where she didn't get it. She didn't believe I had a mental illness. She like in the movie, and ordinary people. I recommend you watch that movie. You gotta see it because there are so many people out there that don't believe you have a mental illness. They don't believe it even exists. So that's something you gotta watch. That movie. Girl Interrupted, another great movie. Angelina Jolie won award for that movie as well. And then another great movie besides Awakenings, you got to watch that with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, is Good Will Hunting. I just saw it again recently. Another one of my favorite movies with Robin Williams, and that's the only movie he won an Academy Award supporting actor in. And he goes to Matt Damon, and I'm not going to give it away, but I'm going to do it anyway. And he says to him so many different times because Matt Damon was his patient, and he keeps saying, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault," which is to the point is it's not your fault that you have a mental illness. It's not. But why does the society think it is? And that's just something about I'm trying to change that stigma of mental illness, that variant regarding that as well. These are things. So what am I trying to do? I love to just educate people, inspire people, and make people laugh in many ways. And so here's one for you right now. Anybody that's on here has been on any dating sites? Anybody been on any dating sites? If you're married, please don't raise your hand. Please don't raise your hand. Well, let me tell you something. You ever hear of Match.com? Yeah, you ever hear Match.com? We'll have the new site called MatchMD.com. And that's for people that have mental disorders. So on the normal site, I find a woman that has blonde hair, blue eyes, and likes to dance. But on this other site, I find a woman that pees a lot, has mood swing problems, and anger management issues. You know what? I'm in love. Yeah, I'm in love. And we're going unsteady. That's right. We're going unsteady. Get it? Unsteady instead of steady. Oh my God. So, getting back to Wayne Dyer. Read Wayne Dyer. It's all about self improvement of yourself. These are the things that Wayne Dyer is all about. How do I make myself a better person? Whether I have a mental illness or not, it doesn't matter. We can be better people in so many different ways. He comes up with quotes like, "What you think of me is really none of my business." It's really none of my business. He would say things like, "I'm not better than you. I'm just better than I used to be. I don't have to have the big car, the big house that someone has. You don't have to be better than anybody because why? As I said before, and I'll say it again, we all are created equal, regardless of what's going on with us, whether we have a mental illness or not. So I'm not better than you, just better than I used to be." That's Wayne Dyer. It's better to be kind instead of being right. It's better to be kind instead of being right. That's Wayne Dyer. He has amazing books, audio books. Get them. Self-improvement, very important. It helped me in my life reading Wayne Dyer, Miguel Ruiz, the books, self-improvement books. That helped me in my mental health. To what? Be mentally well and to stay mentally well. So you're always going to have situations, you're always going to have circumstances, and you're always going to have disappointments. The question is, how do you deal with them? That's what it's all about. How do I deal with these situations that come my way, whether I have a mental illness? I want to make sure I don't overreact and do these things. That's important, and that's what I have done. Now we're going to get into the myths of mental health and mental illness. Here's the myth of mental illness. If you were with me, I would shake your hand right now and say, shake my hand. You got mental illness. No, it's not contagious, ladies and gentlemen. You can't get it from touching or kissing somebody, but people think you can. I don't understand why. Those are the naive people out there. So what else they say? That, oh, it's because you have mental illness, you're weak. It's about weakness. No, it's not. If you're going to work on your recovery, that's called strength. You're worrying on getting help. That's strength. It might be a little weakness if you're not doing anything about your mental illness and you're just suffering in silence and refuse to come out of the mental health closet. That's different. But it's not weak. It's strength. when you work on your mental health to try to get mentally well and to stay mentally well. It leads to violence. I'm sorry, not everybody that shoots someone on TV is mentally ill. I don't buy it. There is some of it, but not all of it. So I don't believe it totally leads to violence. Can never get better. I did. I got better. And so can you. And so can your patients, your clients that you have with, even if you're not the ones that are suffering right now. Everybody can get better. Try the wellness tools. Try the humor. Use the support staff. I'll get into resources in a second. So you can get better. I have. You can't help someone suffering. Of course you can. I do it every day in my job. I do it all day in my life. I got people contacting me all over the world, and I'm helping them with their mental health in many different ways. It's uncommon. Well, it's not. A quarter of people, 1 out of 4 people in the United States suffers with a mental illness. You hear what I just said? 25% of people suffer with a mental illness that we know that is diagnosed. Okay? So I'm sure there's probably another 25% that are suffering in silence. So a lot of people are suffering with their mental illness and suffering in silence. What else? I said it before. It's your fault. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It could be genetics. It could be hereditary, environmental reason, a relationship breakup, brain chemistry, poor nutrition. There's so many reasons why you might have a mental illness, and it's not your fault. And I love when someone says it's all in your head. You ever see the movie with Cher and Nicolas Cage in Moonstruck? He slaps him in the face and says, "Snap out of it." If I was able to snap out of it 40 years ago, do you think I would have done it? Of course. You just can't snap out of mental illness. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. I would have snapped out of it a long time ago. And most importantly, they say it's because of bad childhood. I don't know if that's true or not. It could be partly. I'm not totally sure if that's 100% true on that at all. But the most important thing is mental illness or mental health challenges or mental health conditions. What is it? It's like also having cancer or heart disease or MS or diabetes or broken foot. It's the same, but our society doesn't view it that way. And I'm trying to change that, especially that and the stigma of mental illness. So that's just a little bit about that. Now we're going to get into my favorite part of when I speak. And what is it about? Why is humor and laughter and smiles so important in your life? Anyone know? I know it's a webinar, so you're not going to answer me, but let me tell you the reasons why. Why humor, laughter, and smiles is so important in your life. Number one, it will boost your immune system. It really will. The endorphins, they lift your mood and they promote a self of well-being. That's what humor, laughter, and smiles does. It reduces your blood pressure. It does. It reduces it and protects the heart. Why not have humor and laughter and smiles in your life? It dulls and kills the pain. It doesn't kill the pain. It alleviates stress and anxiety. It relaxes the whole body. Humor, laughter, and smiles. It's a natural beauty enhancer. Look, kidding on that part. It produces empathy. It's contagious. How many times when you start laughing and someone else starts laughing? Humor and laughter. It's attention. It's the now to view. People are now telling nice, mellow jokes to their future employer. Again, humor and smiles, so important in your life. It increases productivity. It improves a feeling of well-being. And the most important reason why you need to have humor, laughter, and smiles is one of your biggest wellness tools from the wellness toolbox is because it helps you live a longer life. You know how I know? I Googled it. Just kidding. It's true. Bob Hope, George Burns, they both lived to 100. Milton Berle, Phyllis Diller, they both lived to 95. Jerry Lewis lived to 92. Dick Van Dyke is 95, I think, and he's still alive. He's still doing great. Bob Newhart is still alive. So why do we need to have humor, laughter, and smiles in your life? You better believe it for your for your mental health and your physical health. It's so important. And I have something for you, a quick one. Do you know how many times a 4-year-old laughs and smiles during the day? Does anyone know? Anyone know how many times a 4-year-old 300 to 400 times a day? Did you hear me? 300 to 400 times a day. Wow, a 4-year-old laughs and smiles during the day. You know how many times a 40-year-old laughs and smiles during the day? Anywhere from 3 to 12. So, once again, start laughing. Start looking at jokes. Start telling jokes. Start watching funny movies, reading funny books, whatever. You got to have humor, laughter, smiles in your life as a wellness tool, just like I do. So, once again, I'm not making fun. I'm just having fun with my mental health. That's what it is. And like I used to say to my parents, who unfortunately recently died, my father died a year ago and my mom 3 years ago, which I told you they were my biggest support staff. And they were there to the very end when I was very sick. And they were there when I recovered, when I was finally mentally well. And then they passed on. My mom would always go to me and say, don't give up. You can do it and you will get better. And I said the same words to my parents who got sick, and then they were suffering with their illnesses of cancer and dementia. And I told them both, don't give up. You can do it, and you will get better. And they did live a longer time. So that's the thing about never giving up, ladies and gentlemen. Never giving up with your mental health. Even if you're feeling down, you can get better and you can stay mentally well. I'm the proof of it. And it's all because of wellness tools and so much more. Now, on October 15th, 2014, I had no job, no girlfriend, no hope, and major depression, bipolar, until I went into the hospital on October 16th, 2014. And since I got out, October 29th, 2014, I haven't looked back. I have several jobs in the mental health field. I have a fiance. I have a lot of hope, and I'll get into that word in a second. And I have no more depression, bipolar. I do not suffer with a mental illness because of all the that I use, and that's why I recommend you guys to do that as well. And now when I ask another question, which I know it's a webinar, how many people are in the audience either married, used to be married, or might still want to get married? Anybody? Let me tell you, marriage is an amazing institution. Ladies and gentlemen, marriage is the most amazing institution. But my marriage made me go into an institution. And I got the toiletry bags to prove it. See, right over here. So, where you going? What are you doing? That was my ex at the time, my ex-wife. But the thing is, you know what? It's all good. I'm doing fine. I've been hospitalized 6 different times. So they opened up a frequent flyer program just for me. Again, I'm just kidding. Have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun. Have fun. Now, my ex-wife, when I was sick with my wife at the time when I was married, when I was with my wife, now my ex-wife, she would spend all my money on expensive things. She would spend all my money on expensive things. She would spend it on her Mercedes. She would spend it on her jewelry. She would spend it on my funeral. Heck, she even planned the date. Now we're getting back to the word hope. That was the name of my ex-wife. So I always knew it's going to be either hopeful or hopeless. It became the latter. So I use hope as a different word and different meaning. I use hope as helping other people every day. Hope, H-O-P-E. Or I have hope as having opportunities perform effectively. Having opportunities perform effectively. That's another way of saying hope. It's all about using the wellness tools, all about using humor to get well and to stay mentally well and to use your passion. Use all your passion in giving value in helping others. I'll say it again. My quote, I'm using all my passion to give value in helping others. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And I said to you about the line from Patch Adams, I just love it. You treat a disease, you either win or lose. But when you treat a person, I guarantee you, you always win. And imagine if you got blamed for having cancer. Think about that for a minute. Imagine getting blamed for having cancer. Why do we get blamed for having a mental illness? We need to get rid of this stigma of mental illness more than ever. Now, even during our pandemic, where people are still suffering even more with isolation and with their mental health and their mental illness. And I'm going to tell you a dirty joke now. Okay? Watch out. Here goes. Why is Tigger always checking the toilet? Okay? Why is Tigger always checking the toilet? Because he's looking for poo. Okay? Have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun, have fun. Never give up. This is what it's all about. I suffered for 40 years in silence and suffered so many years from my mental illness. I never gave up. I thought about it, but I still persevered. So I'm a comedian that doesn't do what other comedians do. I don't cover things up like a lot of comedians do. I uncover things with my mental health, tell you how I suffered, what did I do to get better, what did I do to get well. That's what I do as a comedian, mental health comedian and regular comedian, a stand-up, or you'll see sit down in a minute. And like I said, during this pandemic, coronavirus pandemic, we're doing all this social distancing that's going on. But the big symptom that I dealt with, which a lot of people are still dealing with, it's called isolation. It's affecting everyone still during this pandemic. It's the worst symptom that I believe when I used to isolate different times, help others during the pandemic, and I'm being helping them after the pandemic, and I helped them before the pandemic to help them with their isolation from the pandemic, to really use wellness tools, really use humor, and to stay mentally well. And here is one of the things I go around with. Here's my mask. Yeah, has a little bit of Patch Adams in it. Yes, we need to keep safe, but we need to have humor in our lives. That's my favorite mask. Just wanted to show you that. So, as my hearing aids fall on the ground, because I still have a disability. So, what else can I go over with you besides that? I said it before. Yes.
Hey, Bip, this is Garrett. I think it's a good time. It would be a good time now to show the GoCast video that you wanted to share with everyone. I think that'd be a good way to.
I hope I can do it. I still got a lot to go.
I'm about to make you a presenter now.
All right, you
could segue right into it. I'll give it back to you.
I had a. Now, where do I go on here? This is where my problem is. I don't want to lose you.
So you would go to share screen.
Where's the share screen?
On WebEx, there's a little box with the up arrow.
That one, the red? No.
And you wanna. So you know where you mute and unmute yourself?
No. Now let me just.
There's the microphone. There's the camera.
Let me finish up the. I'll finish up the workshop and let's see if we have time.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna do that and see if we have time at the end to do because I'm having a problem with it. So, as I said to you before, support is what it's all about. Mentally well. This is what I do. As a trained, I use person-centered approach. I try to find what's right with somebody. I try to find what their strength is. You aren't your diagnosis. You're not. And that's really what it's all about. So I finally have found the right medicine. I found, this is one thing I want to go into regarding, has anybody here have dealt with side effects before? Anyone? Well, finally, after 40 years, I found the right medicine, the right everything. And now I take from my depression, bipolar, and things have been great. But then all of a sudden, I started having a side effect. I started peeing out of control. So now I had to go back to the psychiatrist to get medicine for the side effect for peeing out of control, and then the medicine for the depression, bipolar. And now I'm thinking I'm doing great. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I started having another side effect. I had to get a rash on my tush. So you see where this is going here. Who's on first? What's on second? Third base. Side effects. So again, What do you call a Jewish man that makes a lot of coffee? You have an idea? What a Jewish man that makes a lot of coffee? A Hebrew. Get it? Again, have fun with your mental health. We need to have great mental health, not mental hell. And I tell people, look at the Beatles song and the Frozen song. What my two favorite that I quote to you now, the Beatles, Let It Be, and the Frozen song, Let It Go. Let things be and let things go, especially when you're suffering with your mental illness. You need to have a backup plan. That's what I have. You need to know what's going to happen if you're not getting well enough, where you can go, where you can stay. Looks can be deceiving. Does it look like I tried to take my life and I suffered for 40 years and I was in 6 psychiatric hospitals? Doesn't look like it. So looks can be deceiving. And then, of course, I've done something. I just want to give you one here. You hear about the butcher that backed into the meat grinder? You hear about that? He got a little behind in his work. Again, have fun with your mental health. Don't make fun, have fun. And then I also auditioned, just to show you this, for America's Got Talent. That's Mrs. Staying Alive. I auditioned for America's Got Talent the last 2 years. I did not get on. Hope to get on next year. And she's all about equality and diversity. It's all about getting rid of the stigma of mental illness by using humor as my biggest wellness tool. And most importantly, it doesn't matter if you have a mental illness, a disability, a chronic illness, addiction, suicide thoughts, elderly, whatever's going on with you, inside or out. Because why? As I said it before, we all are created equal, regardless what's going on with us. And it doesn't matter if we have a mental illness, it doesn't make us less. So I'm going to end it right here, and then I'll see if I can go into the Goldcast video that I have. It's a mental health Goldcast. There's basically resources, as Garrett said, you have NAMI, you have MHA, there's hospitals you can check out. I work for St. Vincent's, there's many others you can go out, like New York Presbyterian, around here in Westchester, Phelps, this is in the Westchester area, the Guidance Center, WJCS, Search for Change. There's so many places around here in Westchester. You find the right psychiatrist, find the right therapist, and get the right medicine, because you want to have the right triangle, and you got to have that support staff. And the most important thing, I'm working on my book, my documentary, and movie. I've been on many TV shows, radio shows, and podcasts, and now it's all about how you can help me. If you know anybody that's on TV, radio, or podcast, send it my way. You have my email. And you know anyone looking to speak at clinics or hospitals or conferences, so I can educate and inspire you and help you get and have mental health, and have mental health stay with you instead of going away, you let me know. And one last one, and then we'll go into the Goldcast. We'll try to fit it. They have all types of, at the elderly place, this is Mrs. Staying Alive, if I was doing her, at the nursing home, they have all types of diapers or elderly, or for the undergarments, for diapers for elderly people. They have different names. They have one called Poise. That's a great name. Then they have one called Always. That's a great name. And then they got one called Depends. I don't know about that one. Is it working? I don't know. Depends. I don't want that under my tush. Again, having fun with your mental health and your mental health challenges. And then one last one, and I promise this will be the last. A guy goes into a restaurant, and he goes to the waiter. He says, "I'd like to have one bowl of chicken soup." So the waiter yells to the chef, "One bowl of chicken soup." Then the guy says, you know what? I don't want the chicken soup anymore. I think I want the pea soup. So the waiter yells to the chef, "Hold that chicken and make it pea." Again, have fun with your mental health. Wellness tools, humor. This is what it's all about. And now I will try, where I am so technically not good at, to try to see if I can get my mental health Goldcast video with the help of Garrett Smith.
All right, I got you. Okay, so this is what you do on your WebEx, and this could be helpful for everyone, right? So on your WebEx, you have in the middle of your bar, you have like a toolbar in the middle of your screen, right, at the bottom.
I see the bar.
Now, the third circle is a box with an up arrow. Do you see that?
No, I see participants. I got.
You should have mute button. You should
Is that the
have the
participant?
video.
Right. I got the video.
And
Stop
then
video.
Yep. You should click on the one that's it's shaped like a box and it has the arrow pointing north.
Yeah, got it. Got it.
Click on that.
All right.
And then you would share
Screen.
the application as the video.
Application. All right. Now how do I get to my go to window? Or
what application are you sharing the video through? Like what software? Like is it Internet Explorer? Is it?
Yeah, Internet. It's Internet Explorer. Go to Chrome.
All right, so click on the share for Internet Explorer.
It doesn't say that. This is where. Let me do share. I'm right now. It's got entire screen, application window, and Chrome.
Do application window.
All right, got it. All right.
Hold on. Try it now. Try it now. There we go. All right, now you just open the link up and play it.
How come I don't see it? It's easy for you. I'm still having problems.
The link is right there. I'm looking at it right there.
It says stop sharing.
No, don't stop sharing. Just click on the link.
But I don't. It's not showing up anywhere. That's what I'm saying. Should I go out of here?
So right now you're showing your Gmail, and on your Gmail there's the link. So just click on the link. But
I'm not seeing it here. That's what I'm saying. No. Now I had. Oh shit! I never should have done that.
Oh, the age of technology. Okay.
I'm at the window.
Okay. Click on the video first. Like open up the video. Just click on the link that's in your email.
Is that it?
Click on the link. It says www.facebook.com.
It's not showing that here. All I see is me, and it says meeting WebEx is sharing a window.
Okay, now open up your internet browser. Looks like you have a Chrome internet browser, right?
I told you I'm technically not good at this. I have it.
How about this? Go to your because your screen is showing for me, so that means it's showing for everybody else.
Press it.
So yeah.
But you can't press it. So why don't you press it?
Huh?
Take over for me and press it.
It doesn't work like that. Like I can't like actually click on it for you. You have to click on it.
But I'm trying to get to it, and I don't want to do stop sharing.
So what are you clicking on right now?
Nothing. It says WebEx sharing a window. Stop sharing. But I'm trying to.
Now go to your Gmail account.
Hold on a second. Here, I got it. Got it. Here we go.
Okay. All right. Now, play the video. You probably got to share just go to share your screen. How about that? That'd probably be easier for you.
Here it is. You got it.
All right. Now, click share screen.
Got it?
Yes, we got it. All right. Perfect. Mike, it looks like it's not working. This is what I'll do, Mike. Instead, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for everyone. So if they want to watch the GoCast video, they'll be able to watch it on their time. Because right now it's not playing well. Sounds good. So I'm gonna share that link for everyone so they can have it. But it's okay. You can stop sharing your screen because it's breaking up. The video is breaking up, unfortunately. So I'm gonna do that now. GoCast video. All right. So yeah, Mike. Yeah, unfortunately the video was like breaking up. I guess it's just the audio, the way that the connection is. So I just sent a link for everybody to be able to watch it. So they have it there that way. Unfortunately, it's just breaking up a lot, so it's unable to really get the audio too well. The video is kind of spotty. So I think it's just because the amount of bandwidth that's being used.
It's not working, Garrett?
Yeah, no. So I put the link in for everybody to be able to have it that way.
Okay, I
Yep.
thought it was working. No problem.
Yeah, so right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute everybody. So if you have any questions for Mike for us to close out with, or if you have any announcements you want to make, please feel free to do so at this point, and then I'll just wrap the meeting up at 1 o'clock. All right, so there's Mike's contact information in the chat, as well as some other resources that I shared while Mike was discussing different points. So if you have any questions around that to follow up with Mike, you can reach him via email. Again, his email is in the chat, and if you do not have access to the chat, his email is mweit3@gmail.com. So that's MWEITZMAN3@gmail.com. Oh, sorry. With that, I want to tell you guys, thank you for attending the regional communication meeting. I want to thank Mike. A special thank you to you for presenting on all the work that you're doing as a comedian, as a motivational speaker, and as a peer in recovery that is giving back to the community in all the ways that you can, and really using humor as a way to connect with people. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with everyone the work that you're doing and your journey and where you're going from here. So with that, thank you guys for attending the Central New York Regional Communication meeting. And if you would like to connect with Mike, his contact information is in the chat. Again, his email is mweitzman3@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.